Welcome back, coin lovers and treasure hunters. Today, we're diving into the hidden world of rare US coins where ordinary-looking change can carry extraordinary value. Stay with us, because the coin you've overlooked 1,000 times might just be the one that changes everything. History, mystery, and potential fortune are about to unfold right now. Let's get started. First up in the 1990, United States 1 dime stands as one of the most misunderstood yet fascinating modern American coins, often surrounded by bold claims, mystery, and collector excitement. While not an official bicentennial issue, this Roosevelt dime has gained legendary status among coin hunters because of rare varieties, minting anomalies, and extraordinary condition-based values that can transform a simple 10-cent coin into a breathtaking treasure. To the untrained eye, it may look like ordinary pocket change, but to experienced collectors, certain examples of the 1990 D-dime represent hidden wealth waiting to be discovered. This is exactly why knowledgeable collectors urge people to pause before spending old coins, because history and fortune can rest quietly in the palm of your hand. On the obverse of the 1990 D-dime appears the dignified portrait of Franklin Delano Roosevelt, facing left, a design that has symbolized American resilience since its introduction in 1946. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States, led the nation through the Great Depression and World War II, leaving behind a legacy so powerful that it was immortalized on the nation's smallest circulating silver coin design. The words liberty arc gracefully along the left edge, while the sacred national motto, "In God We Trust," rests firmly beside Roosevelt's profile, reinforcing the ideals of faith, freedom, and democratic strength that define American coinage. Turning the coin over reveals a deeply symbolic reverse design that speaks volumes about the nation's values. At the center stands a torch, representing liberty and enlightenment, flanked by an olive branch for peace and an oak branch for strength and victory. This powerful trio reflects America's balance between diplomacy, freedom, and unwavering resolve. Encircling these symbols are the words United States of America and the Latin motto E pluribus unum, meaning out of many one, a phrase that perfectly captures the spirit of unity embedded in every U.S. coin. The denomination, 1 dime, anchors the design, understated yet proud. What elevates the 1990 D-dime from common currency to potential fortune is not the date alone, but the extraordinary rarity of certain errors and high-grade specimens. During production at the Denver Mint, microscopic variations occurred that went unnoticed at the time but are fiercely hunted today. Coins with off-center strikes, doubled dies, weak or missing mint marks, misaligned lettering, or unusual planchet flaws can command astonishing prices. In pristine uncirculated or proof-like condition, especially those graded at the highest levels, these dimes can reach values that shock anyone who believes modern coins are worthless. Collectors understand that rarity is born from survival, not just age. Millions of 1990 D-dimes were struck, but very few escaped circulation without damage. Even fewer exist with dramatic mint errors or flawless surfaces untouched by time. Coins graded at the highest mint state levels become elite artifacts, chased by collectors worldwide. When demand collides with scarcity, prices soar, sometimes reaching 5-figure or even higher valuations in private sales, especially when accompanied by unique visual characteristics that make the coin one of a kind. The myth of worthless modern coins collapses completely when collectors examine auction records and private transactions involving rare Roosevelt dimes. Certain era coins have ignited bidding wars fueled by emotion, prestige, and the thrill of ownership. For some collectors, owning a rare dime is not about the denomination, but about possessing a fragment of minting history that will never be repeated. This is why experienced numismatists constantly remind newcomers that value is hidden in details invisible to the casual spender. What makes stories about rare dimes so captivating is their accessibility. Unlike gold bars or ancient artifacts, these coins can still appear in everyday change, inherited collections, or forgotten jars. This possibility fuels the dream that ordinary people could stumble upon extraordinary wealth. A single overlooked dime, misjudged as spare change, could carry a value capable of paying debts, funding dreams, or changing a family's financial future forever. The excitement surrounding rare U.S. coins often leads to exaggerated claims of overnight billionaire status, but the truth remains powerful even without exaggeration. While not every 1990 D-dime is worth a fortune, the few exceptional examples prove that knowledge is the real treasure. Understanding mint marks, strike quality, surface preservation, and error identification separates ordinary owners from successful collectors. Education transforms curiosity into opportunity, and opportunity into life-changing reward. Collectors who succeed are those who slow down, examine carefully, and respect the quiet stories coins carry. They do not rush to spend, because they understand that money once passed is history lost forever. Every coin tells a story of the era it was born in, the hands it passed through, and the chance it holds to surprise its owner. The Roosevelt Dime, small yet mighty, perfectly embodies this truth. If you own old U.S. dimes, especially those from the 1990s with a Denver Mint mark, take a moment before dismissing them as ordinary. Look closely, because hidden among common coins are rare survivors that defy expectations. These coins are reminders that fortune does not always arrive loudly. Sometimes it whispers from the bottom of a pocket, waiting for someone wise enough to listen. One of the most thrilling aspects of rare coin collecting is the realization that value is not always visible at first glance. A 1990 Roosevelt dime that appears ordinary may, under magnification, reveal subtle yet powerful traits that separate it from millions of others. Slight doubling in the lettering, an unusually sharp strike, mirrored fields, or even faint die cracks can instantly elevate the coin into a different category altogether. These tiny imperfections are not flaws in the eyes of collectors. They are fingerprints of the minting process, proof that the coin was born under rare circumstances that can never be recreated. Condition plays a role so crucial that it often determines whether a coin is worth face value or a small fortune. A dime preserved in untouched mint state, free from scratches, discoloration, or wear, becomes a time capsule frozen in 1990. Coins like these are exceptionally rare because circulation is unforgiving. Each passing hand erases a little history, and only a select few survive without damage. When such coins are professionally graded and authenticated, their value can skyrocket, driven by collectors who understand that perfection is the rarest feature of all. Beyond financial worth, these rare dimes carry immense emotional and historical value. They connect modern collectors to an era when the United States stood at the crossroads of global change, closing the final decade of the 20th century. Every Roosevelt dime is a silent witness to economic shifts, technological revolutions, and cultural transformation. Holding one is like holding a small, metallic memory of a nation moving forward while honoring its past. This emotional connection often drives collectors to pay extraordinary sums, not just for metal, but for meaning. The stories of people discovering valuable coins in unexpected places continue to fuel fascination around rare U.S. dimes. Old drawers, inherited boxes, forgotten jars, and even everyday change have revealed coins worth thousands to those patient enough to look closely. These stories are not myths. They are reminders that rarity does not always announce itself. It hides quietly among the ordinary, waiting for curiosity and knowledge to bring it into the light. This possibility is what makes coin collecting feel like a modern treasure hunt with real rewards. In the end, the true power of rare coins lies not only in their market value, but in the awareness they inspire. They teach us to slow down, observe, and respect the unnoticed details around us. A simple dime becomes a symbol of opportunity, history, and discovery. For those willing to learn and look carefully, these small pieces of metal can open doors to astonishing outcomes, proving that sometimes the greatest fortunes come from the smallest beginnings. Next up before we dive in, it's important to clear the fog of myths and excitement so the story becomes even more powerful and trustworthy. The 1979 United States one dime is often surrounded by exaggerated claims online, but the real fascination lies in understanding what makes a coin truly valuable, how rare errors are created, and why collectors are willing to pay astonishing sums for the right piece. This script will take you deep into the world of rare U.S. dimes, separating fantasy from reality, while still revealing how a simple coin in your pocket can, in very rare cases, change a life forever. The Roosevelt dime, first issued in 1946, honors Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States, whose leadership during the Great Depression and World War II left a permanent mark on American history. His left-facing portrait appears on the obverse, accompanied by the powerful motto, "In God We Trust," and the word liberty, symbolizing freedom earned through sacrifice. By 1979, this design had already become iconic, familiar to millions, and often overlooked. Yet it is precisely this familiarity that allows rare and valuable examples to hide in plain sight. On the reverse of the Roosevelt dime, the design is rich with symbolism and meaning. The torch at the center represents liberty, enlightenment, and the enduring flame of democracy. Flanking it are olive branches, standing for peace, and oak branches, symbolizing strength and victory. Above or near these elements appears the timeless motto, E pluribus unum. Out of many one. A phrase that captures the very soul of the United States. Encircling the design are the words United States of America and the denomination 1 dime. A reminder that even the smallest value can carry enormous historical weight. Now here is where excitement often turns into exaggeration. The year 1979 is not a bicentennial issue. True U.S. bicentennial coins were struck in 1975 to 1976 to celebrate 200 years of American independence, and only the quarter, half dollar, and dollar received special bicentennial designs. However, this does not mean that a 1979 D-dime cannot be valuable. Its potential lies not in the date alone, but in minting errors, exceptional condition, and rare die varieties. The hidden treasures that serious collectors hunt relentlessly. Most 1979 D-dimes were struck at the Denver Mint in massive numbers, making standard examples common and usually worth only face value. But history has shown that when something goes wrong at the mint, an off-center strike, a misaligned die, a double strike, or a missing element, the result can be a coin so rare that collectors will compete fiercely to own it. These error coins are accidents frozen in metal, never meant to exist, which is exactly why they can command prices that feel almost unreal. The truly valuable Roosevelt dimes are often those preserved in extraordinary mint state condition, with sharp details, flawless surfaces, and brilliant luster. Coins graded at the highest levels by professional grading services can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars, even when the date itself is common. When rarity meets perfection, value explodes. Add a dramatic mint error to that equation, and suddenly a 10-cent coin becomes a headline-making collectible. Stories of million-dollar dimes are usually rooted in misunderstanding, but they are inspired by real events. Certain U.S. coins, such as the 1894 S. Barber dime or extreme modern era coins, have sold for jaw-dropping prices. These legends fuel the dream and keep collectors searching, examining every coin with hope and curiosity. While a typical 1979 D-dime will not make someone a billionaire, a previously unknown, spectacular error could still be worth life-changing money in the right market. What makes coin collecting so addictive is this sense of possibility. Every coin is a small time capsule, passed through countless hands, carrying stories no one bothered to read. Most people spend them without a second glance. Collectors pause, inspect, and question. That difference, the willingness to look closer, is where fortunes are sometimes born. The market rewards knowledge, patience, and a sharp eye far more than blind belief in viral claims. If you own old U.S. coins, the smartest move is never to rush. Do not clean them, do not polish them, and do not assume their value based on hype. Condition, authenticity, and rarity decide everything. A single scratch can erase hundreds of dollars in value, while a tiny mint flaw can multiply it beyond imagination. Education is your strongest currency in this world. In the end, the Roosevelt dime of 1979 stands as a powerful reminder. Value is not always obvious. While not a true bicentennial coin, it represents an era, a leader, and a system capable of producing both ordinary change and extraordinary treasures. Somewhere out there, a rare error dime may still be waiting to be discovered. And that possibility, the chance that history, metal, and fate collide in your hand, is what keeps the dream alive and collectors searching every single day. Beyond money and market value, the true magnetism of rare U.S. coins lies in the emotional connection they create between the present and the past. A Roosevelt dime from 1979 may seem ordinary at first glance, yet it is a silent witness to a transformative era in American history, an age marked by economic change, political tension, and evolving national identity. Holding such a coin is like holding a fragment of time itself, a tangible reminder that history does not only live in books and museums, but also in everyday objects that quietly survive decades of circulation. The fascination with rare error coins continues to grow because each error tells a story of imperfection inside a system built for precision. Mints are designed to produce millions of identical coins, yet occasionally the machinery falters, dies shift, or or blanks slip through unchecked. When this happens, the result is a coin that should never have existed. These mistakes are not flaws to collectors, they are miracles. A dramatic error on a Roosevelt dime instantly transforms it from common change into a unique artifact, one that no mint can ever intentionally recreate. Another powerful factor driving demand is scarcity combined with awareness. Many rare coins were not recognized as valuable when they were first released. Some were spent, damaged, or lost forever. Others survived only because someone somewhere decided not to spend them. As time passes, surviving examples become fewer, while interest from collectors continues to rise. This imbalance between supply and demand is what fuels dramatic price increases and creates the illusion of overnight wealth. Though in reality, it is patience over decades that produces true rewards. The coin market itself is driven by passion as much as profit. Collectors are historians, investors, and storytellers all at once. They chase not just metal, but meaning. Auctions become battlegrounds of desire, where two determined collectors can push prices to astonishing heights simply because both understand what they are fighting for. In those moments, value is no longer just about denomination or metal. It becomes about ownership of something irreplaceable. Ultimately, the legend of rare U.S. coins is not about guaranteed riches, but about possibility. Every coin has a story, and a very small number carries secrets that can change a life. The Roosevelt Dime of 1979 reminds us that treasures do not always announce themselves with gold or grandeur. Sometimes they whisper from the bottom of a drawer or the palm of your hand, waiting for someone curious enough to listen and brave enough to look. Next up in the 1970 United States, one dime is a fascinating coin that often sparks big dreams among collectors, especially when people hear stories of bicentennial, rarities, and million-dollar values. To truly understand its potential, it is important to first place this coin in proper historical context. The dime struck in 1970 belongs to the long-running Roosevelt Dime series, introduced in 1946 to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt for his leadership during the Great Depression and World War II, as well as his support for the March of Dimes. Although 1970 itself is not a bicentennial year, the coin still represents a powerful era in American history, a time of social change, Cold War tension, and economic transformation, which adds emotional and historical depth that collectors deeply appreciate. On the obverse, the left-facing portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt immediately commands attention. His strong yet calm expression symbolizes resilience, leadership, and perseverance, qualities that resonate strongly with collectors even decades later. Surrounding the portrait, the inscriptions "Liberty" and "In God We Trust" anchor the coin firmly in American ideals. The clean, balanced design gives the dime a dignified appearance, and when found with sharp details, full hairlines, and an untouched surface, it can feel like holding a small, frozen moment of U.S. history in your hand. This emotional connection is one of the biggest reasons people are drawn to Roosevelt dimes, even common dates like 1970. The reverse design of the Roosevelt dime is equally symbolic and powerful. The torch at the center represents liberty, while the olive branch stands for peace and the oak branch signifies strength and endurance. Together, these elements tell a story of a nation striving to balance freedom, peace, and power. Encircling these symbols are the words "E pluribus unum" and "United States of America," along with the denomination one dime. When these details are fully struck and well preserved, the reverse becomes visually striking, especially under good lighting, where original mint luster can transform an ordinary-looking coin into something truly captivating. From a composition standpoint, the 1970 dime marks an important transition period in U.S. coinage. By this time, dimes were no longer made of silver, instead consisting of a copper core clad with nickel. While this means most 1970 dimes do not carry intrinsic silver value, it also makes rare errors and exceptional conditions far more important. Because millions were produced for everyday use, the vast majority are common, but rarity in coins is not only about mintage numbers. It is about survival, condition, and uniqueness. That is where the true excitement begins. The real value and mystery of the 1970 dime lie in rare mint errors and extraordinary preservation. Coins struck off-center, with doubled dies, missing clad layers, or dramatic die cracks can be incredibly valuable because they were never meant to exist. These accidental creations often escaped into circulation unnoticed, making them thrilling discoveries decades later. A 1970 dime with a bold, clear error and strong eye appeal can command prices that shock casual collectors and fuel stories of overnight fortune. This is how ordinary pocket change transforms into legendary treasure. Condition is another critical factor that can elevate a 1970 dime from common to exceptional. Coins that were never circulated and still retain their original mint luster are far scarcer than most people realize. In top mint state grades, especially with flawless surfaces and sharp strikes, even a regular 1970 dime can become surprisingly valuable. Professional grading plays a major role here, as certified high-grade examples stand out in the market and attract serious collectors willing to pay strong premiums for perfection. The idea of bicentennial wealth often gets mixed into discussions of rare U.S. coins because collectors love stories of hidden treasures. While the official U.S. bicentennial coinage came later in the mid-1970s, the excitement surrounding rare modern coins has led many people to look more closely at earlier dates like 1970. This attention itself increases interest, demand, and awareness. Sometimes, value is not just created by metal or age, but by the stories, myths, and collector passion that surround a coin. What truly makes rare coins powerful is their ability to change how people see everyday objects. A simple dime, often ignored or spent without thought, suddenly becomes a symbol of opportunity, patience, and discovery. The possibility that a small coin could be hiding an error worth thousands, or even more, keeps collectors searching rolls, jars, and inherited collections with excitement and hope. This sense of treasure hunting is what keeps the coin world alive and endlessly fascinating. For anyone who owns a 1970 Roosevelt dime, the most important rule is never to rush. Do not clean it, polish it, or spend it without understanding what you have. Even a tiny scratch or improper cleaning can destroy value instantly. Instead, careful examination, comparison, and professional evaluation can reveal whether your coin is ordinary or extraordinary. Many of the most valuable coins were once dismissed as common until someone took the time to truly look. In the end, the 1970 United States one dime represents far more than 10 cents. It stands as a reminder that history, rarity, and value can exist in the smallest forms. While not every 1970 dime will make you rich, the rare exceptions prove that unimaginable worth can sometimes hide in plain sight. For collectors and dreamers alike, this is what makes old U.S. coins so thrilling. The promise that a single discovery could change everything, turning an overlooked piece of metal into a story of fortune, history, and awe. Beyond rarity and condition, the psychology of collecting plays a powerful role in how a 1970 Roosevelt dime can rise in perceived importance. Coins are not just metal objects. They are emotional artifacts tied to memory, inheritance, and personal discovery. Many collectors first encounter a 1970 dime in circulation, perhaps in an old jar or family collection, and that personal connection instantly elevates its meaning. When a coin becomes linked to curiosity and hope, its desirability grows, and this emotional demand is often what drives competition and higher prices among serious collectors who want more than just a date and denomination. Another important aspect is how time quietly works against common survival. Millions of 1970 dimes were minted, yet very few remain in pristine, untouched condition today. Decades of circulation, handling, scratches, and environmental exposure have eliminated countless examples from ever being considered collectible. This silent loss over time creates a natural scarcity at the top end of quality. When a coin survives with sharp details, original luster, and no damage, it becomes a standout survivor of its generation, and collectors are willing to pay a premium simply because so few exist in that state. Market perception also evolves as new collectors enter the hobby. As people become more aware of error coins and high-grade modern issues, attention gradually shifts toward overlooked dates like 1970. What was once considered ordinary can suddenly become desirable when collectors realize how difficult it is to find a flawless example or a dramatic mint mistake. This slow shift in awareness can cause values to climb steadily over time, not because the coin changed, but because knowledge and appreciation increased. Stories of rare finds play a huge role in fueling interest. Tales of collectors discovering valuable dimes in bank rolls or inherited collections keep the dream alive. While not every story ends in fortune, these real-world discoveries prove that rarity still exists outside museums and auctions. The 1970 dime fits perfectly into this narrative because it is familiar, widely distributed, and still accessible. This combination makes it one of the most exciting coins for people who believe that hidden treasures are still waiting to be found. Ultimately, the 1970 United States 1 dime symbolizes the idea that value is layered. Its face value is small, its material value modest, but its historical, collectible, and emotional value can be immense under the right circumstances. For those willing to learn, observe carefully, and respect the coin's condition, this dime becomes more than currency. It becomes a gateway into the world of rare coins, where patience, knowledge, and curiosity can transform an ordinary object into something truly extraordinary. Next up in the 1976 United States, 1 dime instantly captures attention because it exists within the powerful emotional era of America's bicentennial, a time when the nation celebrated 200 years of independence, pride, and historical reflection. Although the Roosevelt dime did not receive a dramatic redesign like the quarter or half dollar during this celebration, the year itself carries symbolic weight that fuels collector fascination even today. Featuring the iconic left-facing portrait of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, this dime represents resilience, leadership, and recovery, values deeply tied to Roosevelt's legacy during the Great Depression and World War II. The bold inscriptions "Liberty" and "In God We Trust" frame the portrait, creating a timeless design that has remained one of the most recognized faces in American coinage history. What makes the 1976 dime especially intriguing is not flashy artwork, but the stories hidden beneath the surface. Millions of these coins were struck, yet within those ordinary numbers lie extraordinary exceptions. Coins struck with unusual characteristics, minting anomalies, or extraordinary preservation that elevate them far beyond face value. While the standard circulation dime is worth only 10 cents, certain rare examples from this year ignite intense competition among collectors, investors, and numismatic historians who understand that rarity is not about age alone, but about survival, condition, and uniqueness. The reverse of the Roosevelt dime remains dignified and symbolic, featuring a strong eagle with wings spread wide, clutching a bundle of arrows to represent national defense, while an olive wreath beneath it signifies peace. Surrounding this powerful imagery are the inscriptions "United States of America" and "E Pluribus Unum," reinforcing unity and strength. Though not officially altered for the bicentennial, many collectors emotionally associate the 1976 date with the patriotic energy of that historic year, which adds an intangible premium in the hearts of enthusiasts who value symbolism just as much as metal. The true excitement begins when we talk about rare variations. Exceptional mint errors, such as off-center strikes, doubled dies, missing clad layers, wrong planchet strikes, or coins struck with unusually sharp details, are where values can soar dramatically. Coins that escaped circulation and remained untouched for decades, especially those with mirror-like surfaces or flawless strikes, can command staggering prices when professionally graded. In the world of rare coins, perfection is power, and even the smallest deviation from normal production can turn an ordinary dime into a treasure worth thousands, or in extreme cases far more. Condition plays a role so crucial that it can feel almost unbelievable to beginners. 2 coins from the same year, same mint, and same design can differ in value by thousands of dollars simply because one survived in pristine condition while the other circulated through pockets and cash registers. A 1976 dime graded at the highest mint state levels becomes a rarity not because it was scarce at birth, but because time itself failed to destroy it. That survival story is what collectors pay for, and they pay handsomely. There is also an emotional psychology behind why people believe bicentennial-era coins could change lives. The bicentennial represents patriotism, history, and nostalgia, and collectors are drawn to coins that connect them emotionally to a defining moment in national identity. While claims of instant billionaire status are exaggerated, it is absolutely true that certain rare dimes have sold for astonishing amounts when they check every box: rarity, error, condition, and demand. Coins are one of the few physical objects where history and money truly merge. Many people unknowingly spend valuable coins because they look ordinary at first glance. That is the silent tragedy of numismatics. Rare coins rarely shout, they whisper. Without magnification, experience, and knowledge, a life-changing piece of metal can pass through someone's hands unnoticed. This is why collectors always advise: never rush to spend old coins, especially those tied to historically significant years like 1976. Examination, patience, and expert grading can reveal hidden value that changes everything. Another factor that drives excitement is scarcity over time. Every year, more coins are damaged, lost, melted, or permanently removed from collector circulation. This slow disappearance increases demand for high-quality survivors. As interest in tangible assets grows worldwide, rare American coins, especially those tied to symbolic eras, continue to attract international buyers, pushing prices higher as competition intensifies. The 1976 Roosevelt dime may not scream rarity at first glance, but under the right circumstances, it can transform into a headline-making collectible. Coins with dramatic mint errors or elite grading represent the elite tier of the hobby, where prices are determined not by face value, but by desire, scarcity, and prestige. These are the coins that appear in auctions, ignite bidding wars, and make collectors' hearts race. One of the most fascinating truths about rare coins is that their value often explodes quietly, without warning, driven by moments in time when collectors suddenly recognize their importance. The 1976 Roosevelt dime exists at the intersection of history and overlooked opportunity. While it was once dismissed as common pocket change, changing collector behavior and growing global interest in American numismatics have slowly elevated certain examples into a new category of desirability. When demand rises and supply shrinks, even the smallest coin can carry enormous financial weight, turning an unassuming dime into a symbol of hidden wealth. Another powerful factor influencing high valuations is professional grading, which transforms curiosity into confirmed rarity. When a 1976 dime is authenticated and sealed by experts, its story becomes official and its status undeniable. A top-grade specimen with flawless surfaces, razor-sharp details, and original luster becomes a benchmark against which all others are measured. These elite coins rarely appear on the open market, and when they do, collectors are willing to pay extraordinary sums simply for the privilege of ownership. In this world, certainty is priceless, and verified perfection commands respect. The emotional energy surrounding bicentennial-era coins continues to intensify as generations pass. What once felt modern is now history, and what was once common is becoming scarce. Younger collectors, investors seeking tangible assets, and historians alike are now competing for the same limited pool of premium coins. This growing convergence of interest pushes prices upward, especially for coins that symbolize unity, strength, and national pride. The 1976 dime quietly carries all of those meanings, wrapped in a design that has stood the test of time. There is also a deeper lesson hidden within the story of rare coins. Wealth does not always announce itself. It waits for those who are curious enough to look closer. Many of the most valuable coins ever discovered were found not in vaults, but in jars, drawers, and forgotten collections. The idea that something so small can hold so much potential continues to inspire collectors worldwide. This sense of discovery is what keeps the coin market alive, thrilling, and endlessly unpredictable. Ultimately, the fascination with the 1976 United States one dime is about more than money. It is about awareness, patience, and perspective. Coins like this remind us that history is not locked away in museums. It circulates quietly among us every day. Those who take the time to understand what they hold may uncover value far beyond expectations. And while not every coin leads to fortune, the knowledge to recognize one that does is itself a priceless asset. In the end, the real power of the 1976 one dime lies not just in metal or design, but in possibility. It represents the idea that fortune can hide in plain sight, that history can rest quietly in your palm, and that knowledge is the key that unlocks value. If you own old U.S. coins, especially from iconic years, do not dismiss them. Examine them. Learn their secrets. Because while not every coin makes you rich, the right one can absolutely change your future. Next up in the 1982, United States one dime is often surrounded by dramatic stories, bold headlines, and exaggerated claims, but when we strip away the myths and look closely at the coin itself, a far more interesting and educational story emerges. One that every serious and curious collector should understand. This dime carries the familiar portrait of Franklin Delano Roosevelt facing left, a design introduced in 1946 to honor the 32nd President of the United States and his lifelong battle against polio. The strong profile, paired with the words liberty, and the motto, "In God We Trust," reflects the resilience, hope, and national pride that defined mid-20th century America and continued into the early 1980s. Despite being widely labeled online as bicentennial or worth millions, the 1982 D-Dime was not part of any official U.S. bicentennial coin program. The true bicentennial coinage was issued in 1975 to 1976 and featured special reverse designs. The 1982 D-Dime instead belongs to a fascinating transitional era in U.S. minting history. It was struck at the Denver Mint during a time when the U.S. Mint was facing production challenges, quality control changes, and economic pressures caused by inflation, metal costs, and public coin shortages. What truly makes the 1982 dime notable, and sometimes valuable, is not its date alone, but the mint mark and striking errors associated with this year. In 1982, some dimes were released without a mint mark, even though they were struck in Philadelphia. These no mint mark, Roosevelt dimes are legitimate mint errors, not damaged coins, and they represent a genuine collectible variety. While a normal 1982 D-dime is common, a confirmed 1982 no mint mark dime in high condition can command hundreds, and in rare pristine examples, even thousands of dollars at auction. The reverse design of the Roosevelt dime is rich in symbolism and often overlooked by casual observers. The torch at the center represents liberty, enlightenment, and freedom. The olive branch signifies peace, while the oak branch stands for strength and endurance. Above these symbols appears the powerful motto, E pluribus unum, meaning out of many one, reinforcing the idea of unity among the states. The lettering United States of America and one dime frames the design, giving the coin a balanced and dignified appearance that has remained unchanged for decades. Claims that ordinary 1982 D-dimes are worth millions or can make someone a billionaire overnight are not rooted in reality. However, that does not mean these coins are meaningless. Coin collecting is not only about instant wealth, it is about discovery, condition, rarity, and historical context. A circulated 1982 D-dime is typically worth face value, but uncirculated examples with sharp details, full torch bands, and original mint luster can be worth significantly more to collectors who value quality. Where real excitement begins is in error collecting. Off-center strikes, doubled dies, weak or missing details, clipped planchets, and improperly struck torch bands can transform an ordinary dime into a highly desirable piece. These errors are scarce, visually striking, and heavily sought after by specialists. When authenticated and graded by professional services, such error coins can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on rarity and eye appeal. Condition plays a massive role in value. A coin that has never been cleaned, scratched, or mishandled preserves its original surfaces and natural toning, which collectors prize above all else. Cleaning a coin, even gently, can destroy its numismatic value instantly. This is why experienced collectors always advise: if you think a coin might be special, do not spend it, polish it, or alter it in any way. Preservation is power in the coin world. The fascination with rare U.S. coins comes from the idea that history can sit quietly in your pocket, unnoticed for decades. While the internet often exaggerates values to attract attention, true wealth in coin collecting comes from knowledge. Understanding mint marks, varieties, strike quality, and historical production quirks separates serious collectors from casual holders. The 1982 dime teaches this lesson perfectly. It is common on the surface, but full of hidden stories beneath. Collectors are drawn to coins like the 1982 D-dime because they represent a moment in American economic history when the mint was adapting to change. These coins are reminders of how even modern-era money can develop rarity through human error, mechanical flaws, and limited circumstances. That reality makes searching through pocket change exciting because occasionally something genuinely unusual does appear. Beyond market value, the emotional and historical connection tied to coins like the 1982 D Roosevelt dime is what truly captivates collectors around the world. Each dime passed through countless hands during everyday transactions, grocery stores, gas stations, payphones, and small purchases, quietly witnessing daily American life. This ordinary circulation is what makes the discovery of an unusual or high-grade example so thrilling. The idea that something so small and seemingly insignificant could carry a story spanning decades adds a powerful sense of mystery and wonder to modern coin collecting. Another important factor that drives interest in the 1982 dime is the transition in minting quality during this era. The early 1980s were marked by cost-cutting measures, changes in die preparation, and faster production speeds. As a result, strike quality varied widely. Coins with strong details, especially fully defined torch bands on the reverse, are far scarcer than weakly struck examples. This scarcity fuels demand among advanced collectors who seek perfection in a series that is otherwise overlooked. The psychology behind sensational claims of million-dollar coins also deserves attention. Such statements often ignite curiosity and draw new collectors into the hobby. While most of these claims are exaggerated, they still serve a purpose by encouraging people to learn, search, and engage with numismatics. Many seasoned collectors today began their journey after hearing a dramatic story about a rare coin, only to discover a lifelong passion rooted in history, research, and careful observation. Authentication and grading play a crucial role in separating myth from reality. Professional grading services evaluate coins based on strike, luster, surface preservation, and originality. A 1982 dime that appears ordinary at first glance can gain significant credibility and value once it is officially graded and encapsulated. This process protects the coin and provides collectors with confidence, ensuring that rarity and condition are properly recognized within the marketplace. Ultimately, the legacy of the 1982 Roosevelt Dime lies not in overnight riches, but in its ability to educate and inspire. It reminds collectors that true value comes from patience, learning, and respect for history. Coins are miniature time capsules, carrying the marks of the era in which they were born. For those willing to look beyond the surface, even a modern dime can reveal a story rich with symbolism, craftsmanship, and enduring American heritage. In the end, the 1982 Roosevelt Dime is not a magical ticket to instant millions, but it is a gateway coin, one that introduces people to the deeper world of numismatics. Its true value lies in what it teaches: how to observe closely, question bold claims, respect history, and recognize that real treasure is found not in hype, but in understanding. If you own U.S. dimes, examine them carefully, learn their details, and remember, knowledge is what turns ordinary coins into extraordinary discoveries.